Welcome to The Chain. We're your hosts. I'm Kendahl Landreth.
And I'm Sarah Shower, and this is the BCC Club, where each week we go down an internet rabbit hole and dissect it. What hole are we going down today? I don't know.
What hole are we going down
What hole
today?
are we getting into?
We are talking about the TikTok ban and what it is, if it's going to happen. We don't actually have that answer.
We can give you the summary, though, really good.
And how we are going to pay our rent after.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are going to find out with us in real time.
Before we get into it, how are you?
Good. I'm great. I read 22 books this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
reading.
insane.
Dude.
It's only April, the beginning of April.
I know, but the thing is since I wake up early, I read for 2 hours every morning, and it helps calm my nerves. Because if you start on your phone, you're gonna be anxious.
Not good. What time do you wake up usually?
Usually 5. Take the Vyvanse, it kicks in, and I wake up at 6.
I'm so jealous of that.
You can do it too.
Well, I don't have any Vyvanse.
Wait, what happened?
I know. Well, I took it, I got it, and I took it, and now it's gone. And now there is a shortage again.
Well,
I don't understand. But what are you going to do?
it's annoying as hell. Wait, so and so I'm reading a book right now called Hijab Butch Blues, which is inspired by Stone Butch Blues.
Oh, fun.
Have you ever read it?
No. Sorry, I said fun. It might not be fun. I don't know what it is.
Stone Butch Blues is like a staple for any lesbian ever. Like you're supposed to. It's but it's hard to get an actual printed copy.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, it's elusive. But this one is really interesting. Love it.
It's nonfiction.
It is nonfiction. Yeah, it's a memoir, but it's so gay and it's so tender, and it's I literally have to walk out every single time, because when someone's getting too gay that you're oh geez, I feel like I'm in the room.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so good. I also got this big map of the world in cork from Etsy.
Okay.
And so every time someone writes me a letter to my P.O. box, I put a little pin from where
that's
know.
really sweet.
A little pin from where they're from. And so I'm really excited about that, because I'm obsessed with I don't want to create parasocial relationships, but I'd like to see where people are writing from or whatever, and it's cool. They didn't include islands though, so Hawaii's not there.
So don't write a letter.
Samoa, no, I bought. Don't even try. No, I bought some cork, and so it hurts my hands so much, but I'm cutting out the Maldives. It's so small, but I want people to write me from there.
That's so, okay, opposite. If you're from Hawaii or the Maldives, please write, because you put a lot of effort in.
No, seriously, if people from islands don't want to write me, I will cry. When you bake something for a class,
I do.
and then no one eats it?
Yeah.
That would be like that.
Oh, that is the saddest person on earth, when you're at a party and someone's brought something and then they're eating it, and they're this is really good. And then you're I'll try it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah. Oh my gosh. Over Christmas, I'd never met my neighbor before, but she was she walks in, she has this full tray of something that she's made for a party, and she's I just got back, no one ate any of it.
Oh.
And I was on my period, so I was no one ate any of it. And I was you spent so long on this. And she's it's fine. And I was I literally have never cried so hard. But the idea of,
sick.
It's disgusting.
So sick.
How are you?
I'm okay. I feel insecure that I look so greasy. I put so much skincare on, and then a little bit of it got in my hair. I just got this new oil that is very nice. But so I did take a shower yesterday, just so everyone knows. I'm fine. I'm really tired.
Yeah.
But besides that, I didn't have any caffeine this morning, so I'm trying to drink this, but it's some weird what is it called?
It's a Coke in a
limited edition futuristic flavored. No, thank you.
I am very wary of any soda that's in a turquoise can.
Yes, I don't like it.
Besides Baja Blast, anything else, you just know it's going to taste like really weird fruit.
Yeah, not my favorite. So that's been good. And I went to the Jojo Siwa.
You did.
Party. I saw you at the Spotify party.
I didn't know you were being serious about going to the Jojo Siwa event.
It was not serious, and then it slowly became serious.
Yeah.
Well, my manager, Kyle, all week has been Kendahl, we gotta go to this. We have to go. And I've been like, no, I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
And then at the Spotify event, she was like, please, it starts in 30 minutes. Like, I'll drive you. Like, can we please go? Or Zach drove us, actually.
Oh, shit.
And it was one of the greatest things I've ever attended.
Really?
I was really glad I went. Like 2 minutes in, I was like, these songs are really good.
Oh, yeah.
I'll save some of this for our JoJo episode, but
Oh, I'm so excited.
let's just say I've been playing Karma on repeat.
Really?
And that is a big turnaround from where I was before attending that.
Oh, do you know who that song was written for?
No.
Miley Cyrus in 2011. It was supposed to be on her Can't Be Tamed album, but since she was still associated with...
Really?
Yeah, since she was still like associated with Disney, they didn't want her saying bitch. They didn't mind her being saucy, but they were like, no. And so they just like tabled it, and now JoJo picked it up.
Wow. Music is so weird. I'm not trying to be mean, but I always find it so interesting when you hear that, like, I'm not even specifically talking about JoJo, but there's like a lot of people where there's like a lot of auto-tune happening, whatever. And then you find out that they also like didn't write their own music, or that it's just been like this is like everybody. This is seriously not just about JoJo, because I'm like, everyone just like buys their music and they're like, oh, this song was written 10 years ago and then I finally got to use it and it was supposed to be this person's originally, whatever. And I'm like, some singers, I'm like, what do you do exactly?
Yeah.
Because you don't sing and you don't write.
Yeah.
You're just I guess you have star quality. I guess that's what it is.
Was Jojo Siwa like, was her mic on? Was it good?
She wasn't singing. She was like singing in the way that I was singing, and that the music video was playing, and she was like dancing in front of the screen.
Okay.
She played Karma 4 times.
Does she not have any other songs?
No, she did, but she still just played them 4 times. She had 3 other ones she showed, and I really can't wait for you to hear them, because they're really good.
Okay.
They're really good. I was like, oh, sorry, I punched the microphone. I'm on a whole other world.
You've got to chill
sleepy. I'm so sleepy. It was just, before that was like so anti everything that was going on with this rebrand, if you will. And then I kind of had a moment where I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of fun. Still not a fan of some things she said, but I don't really care that much.
Yeah. This, I think, with the Jojo Siwa rebrand, like if you're going to be cringe, or you know it's going to be cringe, you can't stop halfway through. And she's really she's taken it there, you know? Yeah. She's surpassed cringe, and now it's campy. And so now we can respect her.
I feel like, yes, and I feel almost scared of her. I feel like early on, I was like, this is all, like years ago, I was like, this is very, what is it called? Not manipulative, but like, not a bad thing, very calculated.
Yeah.
This whole thing is very calculated. Like, her mom is being like, this is what we're gonna do, and it's gonna seem like this and whatever. And then near the beginning of this like Karma release, I was like, oh wait, I think she might just be stupid. Like, I don't think she's actually good at this. I think maybe she just got like lucky a couple times, and now we're seeing her like try to do branding for something, and it's like such a nightmare. And then I've gone back the other way where I was like, was it so genius that I thought it was so embarrassing that it made me so mad that I like talked about it so much, and now I'm like, wait, I like her again, and the music is out and it has like so many views.
Yeah, I am. God, that's I've had that happen before, where like sometimes when someone does you dirty or you don't like someone, you're like, they're like this evil, manipulative genius. And then like you realize like years later or something, you're like, wait, they're just inconsiderate and dumb.
Just an asshole.
They were like they just literally don't think about anyone.
100%. Where I was like, wait, why was I giving her so much credit? Like I was being like, no guys, like she's crazy, but like she is like she is the greatest business person of our time. And it's like, maybe not. Maybe she just got as stupid. But then I felt bad because I was like, wait, it's starting to seem like now it's like, wait, she's not calculated.
Yeah.
But she's not. She really is being cringy, and it's not purposeful. Like she's really like trying her best. And this is like, then it becomes like bullying, which, you know, I don't stand for. And so I'm just like, wait, what's going on with her? I like really can't get a read. I need to figure some things out before we do our JoJo episode, because I need to figure out my stance. That's what I'll tell you.
Yeah, I have an opinion on Jojo Siwa's rebrand, but also finding out where the song came from, Miley Cyrus. I'm like, I need to hear the 3 other songs for me to make a final.
So good. I'm telling you.
Wait. Okay, but good, like camp good?
No.
good, like
They're good.
Oh.
Like they're like, well, I guess camp. Maybe I don't understand what camp is because I'm like, they're good like Kesha good.
Ooh.
Like Kesha, not like prayer Kesha, but like Kesha, like
wake up in the morning feeling
in the morning, like feeling like P. Diddy. Good.
That's crazy. We should do it. Sorry.
But she like, I'm not saying she's like, I'm not equating her to Kesha. I'm not like, she's just like Kesha. The music is just very like similar. It feels very much like Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Circa 2014.
Well, that makes sense because that's where she got the songs from.
Yeah.
The
she didn't really do anything. I'm like, she's giving Katy Perry. Katy Perry's like, that's my song.
I wrote that. Can you imagine that in the world of like comedy where like you worked out a joke for a set and they're like, that's not good. That doesn't make sense for you. Save it. And then your agent or your manager's like, hey, by the way, that joke you wrote 9 years ago, they're using it right now.
You know, the equivalency that I think is so funny. I see it whenever I'm auditioning. I'm on like, if my agent sends me stuff, this happens so much. You'll get like, I don't want to use an exact name, so I'll just use my own name.
Yeah.
This has never happened to me. I'm not this cool. But it'll be like, we want a Kendahl Landreth type.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a friend of mine that I know from comedy. And I'll send it to them and they're like, why the fuck am I not allowed to audition for this? Like, I didn't get an audition, but they're listing it as this person's type.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would suck where they're like, we want someone exactly like this person, but we're not going to reach out to that person.
Oh my gosh. That is so crazy. I've had a brand that I used to write for referenced as like what they wanted. And I was like, well, good. I wrote that, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my week. Jojo Siwa filled.
That's good. And you know what? I don't know how Jojo Siwa was going to promote her music.
I know.
If TikTok gets banned.
Man. Oh, man. What is she going to do? I mean, TikTok. So, of course, TikTok is maybe getting banned. But also, this has been like, it's kind of like, when is the world going to end? Like, I feel like every couple months, like, TikTok's getting banned. But this time, maybe it seems like it's really maybe going to be banned.
Yeah, it seems like it's for real. So let's break it down, guys. We might get political, so strap in. The House of Representatives passed the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act last week. Jesus Christ. That's so long. If signed into law, ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, would either be forced to sell TikTok or the app would be banned from app stores, according to the bill. And then Jake said, unless Congress falls in love with the BCC's podcast TikTok account. Come on, Congress. Are you connected
Congress.
Are you connected to anyone in politics?
No. No. I've been really thinking about running for my HOA council.
You have an HOA?
I do, and I've been thinking about running because I really want to get a vending machine
in
my building. That's the closest I'm to politics.
I would vote for you.
Thank you so much. I do think one day I will run for mayor.
Yeah.
Of my little town that I live in.
I think you can do it.
And but that's it. That's the closest I am to politics. What about you?
No, I'm not related to anyone in politics.
I would believe you're like, my dad is George Bush.
My dad is a senator. So the 12-page bill aims to protect the national security of the United States from the threat posed by foreign adversary-controlled applications like TikTok. If passed and signed into law, it would make it illegal to distribute apps developed by ByteDance, its subsidiaries, and other firms controlled by a foreign adversary, unless the company offloads the app within 180 days, and ByteDance is based in China. So, okay, the bill passed by the House requires that applications found to be controlled by a foreign adversary must be divested within 180 days, with ByteDance and TikTok specifically singled out. Divestment could mean selling the app to a U.S.-based company, although the specific definition of a qualified divestiture would be determined by the U.S. president. The bill also creates a process for the president to designate certain social media apps as, quote, subject to the control of a foreign adversary, meaning the apps could be targeted as well. What's crazy about this is that they were like, we don't want other people to like have our data, but what was it? Facebook and Instagram, they sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of data, and those are owned by the U.S. TikTok doesn't even compare to what like Meta does.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, take all of this even away. Like, would you be personally happy if it got banned? Take everything away that is like politically like oh, it's good for XYZ, like just for you personally?
I would not like for it to be banned because I think I love doing more educational talks sometimes. And so like comedy aside, my comedy I could figure out, like fit it into something else. But like when I talk about like things that I'm passionate about, this is the app where it's easiest to share it on.
Yeah.
Because on YouTube, you have to make like dedicated 15-minute videos. And if you don't have the time or the editing, and then also Instagram, you can't really share videos.
Yeah.
You share it to your Instagram story, and then your Instagram story views tank. And so it's like, Byte is like TikTok is where it's easiest to do that, sort of share information.
Yeah, that's so true. I do feel like on TikTok, I'll post literally anything.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, for some reason, I'm like, this is more official. Like, let's keep it professional over here.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know why. If the bill becomes law and ByteDance refuses to sell, U.S.-based app stores and web hosting service will be prohibited from providing TikTok to the public. I always wonder, though, I'm like, wouldn't they just, like, don't you think there's a person geared up who has, like, a replica of TikTok? But
Oh, yeah.
So, like, wouldn't it just switch to that?
Yeah, I think that. Or also, like, what I'm predicting is that it's just going to be another, like, they're basically trying to force TikTok, ByteDance to sell to an American company. So it's like, oh, great. Like, we're just making all of our information is now, like, in Americans' hands.
Yeah.
The idea of Elon Musk dealing with my tweets and my videos.
Yeah.
He's an idiot, but he might be our savior. Oh, God. So who approved this bill?
Rep. Mike Gallagher, Wisconsin. He wrote the bill. And Mike's Instagram bio says, Green Bay native, Marine veteran, and Eisenhower nerd. Proudly representing WI-8 in Congress. Go Pack, go.
Great.
That should be illegal. You should not be allowed to have that as your bio.
Eisenhower.
Go Pack, go. Come on.
Wait, why are you obsessed with Eisenhower so much? You hate people who smoked inside restaurants? Yeah, that's what he's known for, getting rid of that.
What an ass.
What a jerk. But that is crazy that Green Bay native would come before Marine veteran. I don't know. But
President Joe Biden has also shown his support for the bill. If they pass it, I'll sign it, he told the reporters. That's so interesting to me. That feels like a way... I feel like it'd be such a quick votes grab to say, I'll never let TikTok go away.
Yeah.
Even if you just say it. I'm like, I feel like there's a lot of like 18-year-old first-time voters who would be like, that's enough for me.
Yeah. People make so much money. Like so many American companies make money off of TikTok, not just individual creators. Like think about what's that Tarte brand trip?
Yeah.
They probably allotted like millions of dollars for that. And that was based on like posting on TikTok.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many other brands like actually invest in TikTok?
Yeah.
And to like want to screw yourself with so many companies at once?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just dumb.
So if it's being done on TikTok, does that mean if there was like an American company, if like brand deals were being done through, but like brand deals, TikTok doesn't get money from my brand deals, do they?
I mean,
well, I guess they do.
Yeah.
Because they're getting, I see.
There's like a back end thing. It's not something that comes out of your paycheck.
I see. Well, it better not be.
Oh, hell no.
That's very interesting. The bill still needs a Senate vote and then to be signed by President Joe Biden. So it just needs a Senate vote. And it seems like a lot of people on the Senate are like, I'm going to vote yes.
Mm-hmm. The House of Representatives, it was like unanimous. And I think they also voted in favor of it in the Senate because this is from a couple weeks ago. But it's crazy, like, there was only, I don't want to get too, we're talking about politics. They proposed the bill, and then a week later, there was a unanimous vote by everyone to get rid of it. Meanwhile, you look at the people in the House of Representatives. Like, are you kidding me? I would not let these people manage a Wendy's.
I know.
And they're, like, literally deciding, like, laws on our body and like our jobs.
I know. It's not good. It's not good. It's really unfortunate.
Like, I mean, even if I was in court and they were like, we need to round up a bunch of your peers, and all I saw were people from the House of Representatives, I'd be like, they're 80.
I know. It's not good. They have never done, what's this one? That dance move?
Oh, guys.
Oh, guys, come on. What's this?
You asked the older. You should know it because I'm the millennial.
This is I don't know, but they've never done any dance moves.
They've never done the whip.
They've never done the whip or the nay-nay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I sounded very millennial when I said that.
I firmly believe if you released Jojo Siwa in the House of Representatives, half those people would drop dead.
I truly was thinking about this the other day because I was like, my dad loved Jojo Siwa more than anyone. He was like her number one fan. And I was like, there's never been a moment more that I've wanted to bring my dad back to life than these last couple weeks with Jojo. I think he would drop dead again.
I feel like you should tell Jojo that.
She will not answer my emails. Trust me, I've sent them.
That's so crazy.
Why was this bill even proposed in the first place? Rep. Mike Gallagher, a Wisconsin Republican who leads the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, said that the new bill would alleviate national security concerns while protecting Americans' free speech rights. That doesn't make any sense.
You got rid of the platform where people are allowed to speak freely.
Yeah, and then you said this will help with free speech. In what way does that help with free speech? Does he give a reason?
If you value your personal freedom and privacy online, if you care about Americans' national security at home, and yes, even if you want TikTok to stick around in the United States, this bill offers the only real step towards each of those goals.
That's a good impression.
Said Gallagher. You've heard of him?
Yeah, I'm friends with him. No, I think it's just so... I'm like, okay, sure. I don't know anything about like anything that's going on with any social media platform behind
the scenes.
So I'm sure they're all stealing my information. But if it was just TikTok, that'd be a different thing. But it's just so funny to push for this so hard when every single app in America is doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Also, it feels very annoying because I feel like a lot of like old Republicans are like, finally, they're getting rid of this. These kids are addicted to their phones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? You think we're going to throw our phones away?
Yeah.
If TikTok gets banned? So it feels very like no one really has a reason. They kind of just want to do it.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And also, I think they tried to do this to one other app before. You guys may have heard of it. Grindr.
Did they?
Yeah, Grindr is the one where they keep
we know why that didn't get passed.
No.
Everyone in Senate found it.
Seriously. Actually, maybe.
I'm serious.
Gallagher said it provides the only path for the app to continue its operations in the U.S. without threatening America's online freedom, privacy, and security. You are a threat to America, sir.
And you are dumb.
You're idiot.
Lawmakers from both parties have repeatedly expressed concern that TikTok could be forced to hand over the data it collects on millions of Americans' users to the Chinese government, which could in turn use it for espionage purposes. They have also warned that the app could be used to spread propaganda and misinformation.
Okay.
And Jake said, they're going to find out what book Sarah's reading.
I have a lot of drafts. No, they just want to prevent the spread of information. They don't give a shit about anyone else's. They just want to be able to stop people from talking to each other.
This is totally for... Yes. This is not even devil's advocate because I really don't think TikTok should be banned.
Uh-huh.
And I also think if what I'm about to say is true, it's still TikTok should be banned. But do you think, because sometimes people are like, this is the place where we get information to one another. But do you also feel like the information is outweighed sometimes by the, I would say more so, false information that is spread on TikTok?
Okay. So do you know the difference between a net positive and a net negative?
Sure.
All right, so
that's what I'm wondering. Do you think it's like worth it?
I think it is worth it. I think the idea, just because good is not the enemy of great, that's a saying in harm reduction, guys. If someone says that they have a problem and they're like, I'm just going to start cutting back on drinking, you in your head are like, you should get sober. But like, you're relieved when you hear, okay, you're going to cut back.
Yeah.
And so like that, I'm applying that same sort of logic here. Yes, there absolutely is misinformation online and you should call it out. But like, just because something could potentially be wrong doesn't mean you want to like stop having it as a resource altogether. Because I mean, the same thing applies to traditional media. How many times has the newspaper lied to us?
I mean, right.
And are people calling to abolish the newspaper because it's been wrong sometimes? It's like, no, they just, second article, let's correct this.
Yeah.
Keep the newspaper so we can all stay informed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I guess that can happen on any app. Like, there's a lot of misinformation on.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation on Facebook. Have you been on Facebook recently?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. All it is AI generated images.
Yeah.
And then the comments are like, it'll be like an AI generated photo of an 8-year-old that clearly looks like she's in the cast of the Polar Express. Like, she's so clearly not a real person. She's holding this huge cake that she's quote unquote decorated. And all the comments are like, beautiful cake. This is gorgeous. Wow. And I'm like, this is sick. It's all it is. There's nothing else. It's just old people reacting to AI generated images.
That is okay. So in the Apple store, how there's like a guy teaching old people how to use the phones.
Yeah.
It's really cute. I think they should have a similar service where like you have like courses where old people can sign up to be like, is this AI or not? You know, like, hey, look, Grandpa, that woman only has one finger on her face.
I saw one this morning of Jesus carrying people out of it looked like a
Macy's.
I think of a Macy's during Black Friday. Yeah. He was saving them. No, it was like, I think there'd been a tsunami and then he was like saving people. And he was holding a woman, but she didn't have a head. So the legs were just coming out of Jesus's body. It looked insane. All the comments were 50. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Not a single comment. Because I looked, I was like, someone's got to be like, this isn't, what is this? And no one said it.
That is
it's really, really scary.
Oh, dude, I think I've talked about this before. There's a Reddit page called r/LSD. And it's people tripping on LSD, and they'll take a photo of something. It's like a McDonald's parking lot, and they're like, holy shit, is this real? That's like, I want to merge like old people looking at AI and people on LSD looking at anything.
Well, what's scary is that AI feels so new. Like, it feels like the AI to me, I was thinking about this the other day, feels like maybe what it probably felt like when the internet came out.
Yeah.
Not exactly, obviously, but just like feels similar. It's just kind of like introduced one day.
Yeah.
And we knew it was coming, but we like didn't have it. And then all of a sudden they were like, here you go. And then things are just very different now.
Yeah.
And so it feels scary to me because I'm like, early on, internet was such a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, so unhelpful in a lot of ways when it like first started. And I'm like, AI is so new and it's already tricking so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And like, where's it going to be in 2 years? Like, I'm so scared. Because honestly, this is a confession, but early on in those Facebook cake posts, I thought it was real. I thought it was real and it wasn't. And now I know what to look for. But I'm like, I'm going to be tricked so bad.
It's okay. I think AI right now is like the literal interpretation of the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Where like something kind of looks right, but it's off. And anything in the Uncanny Valley, from lesbians to just anyone who's like, anyone who looks gay will be in the Uncanny Valley. But just because they're in the Uncanny Valley doesn't mean that they're bad.
Yeah.
They're just not familiar.
Oh, it's so scary. Yeah, exactly. That is what it is because it looks just a little bit off. But I also am like, oh, it's going to just like ruin creativity. Because if I was about to make a water park right now, if I was like, I am investing, I'm making a water park, I would do that because I love water parks. I would just search on AI like tropical water park with peanut mascot and see what came up. And then I would probably use little bits and pieces of it. It's like so wild that nobody has to think anymore at all.
Well, the thing about that is that if you got the full blueprint for a peanut water park, you would still have
It's not a peanut water park.
Sorry.
The mascot is a peanut.
You would still have to build it.
But as you think does the designer have to build it?
Well, I mean,
that's the construction workers. Those are my guys that build it. I would just say do this.
Yeah, this is architect versus engineer. Space. That's a long feud. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're gonna take over this, but yeah. So
I guess there's just those issues on every app. So it doesn't really matter if it's on TikTok because it's not an issue of TikTok. It's an issue of our current world.
Yeah, think about it. Like if your mom tells you something really important about like, hey, don't look at grandma's sty. And it turns out, and you see your grandma and she's got a cut. You're not going to be like, Mom, you lied. You're going to be like, there's still like information that was important to receive, to not be like, Grandma. You're just like, it's not a sty, it's a cut.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So is this a serious infringement on our First Amendment rights? Kittle?
Passing the bill could embolden authoritarian censorship abroad. Experts warn and shatter the United States' reputation as an international champion of free speech.
Let's cut this shit right now. What country abroad thinks that the U.S. is at the top of their game when it comes to freedom of speech and expression?
Nobody. I've now been, I'm not well traveled.
All right.
But I've been to Japan.
Yep.
And I went to London with you.
Yes.
Seemed like the same to me as in America.
Yeah.
Except better. But I was like, everybody's just saying what they want.
Yeah.
Nothing's different.
No one thinks Americans are like no one thinks, oh God, they're so well spoken.
No. I just had a friend whose boyfriend is from Australia.
Yeah.
And he went and met their parents in Australia, and he said it was awkward because pretty much the whole time they were just talking about how horrible Americans were.
That'll happen.
That'll happen to you if you go to Australia. And he said it actually by the end. At first I was like, yeah. And then at the end I was like, now I'm just sad. This sucks. Yeah, we suck and we're stupid.
We had 2 guests on. We were talking about the Pooniverse. They're from England. And what I love...
We're talking about the Pooniverse.
What I love about anyone not from America coming to America is that you're quickly converted.
Yeah.
You leave here with,
with a corn dog in one hand.
Your pants don't fit. You got highlights, a fake tan, and some veneers, and you love it.
I'm getting a fake tan
You
soon for my first big tan. I've never had a tan.
You got to scrub your entire body.
With what?
All right, so you're going to want to go to a Sephora or an Ulta. There's a purple bottle, and it's called First Aid Beauty, and it's a full body scrub.
Okay.
It'll get everything. You got to especially get your
The elbows, your knees, your fingers.
your ankles, yes.
Ankles.
And so what you're going to do is that as soon as you get out of the shower, you apply a body oil to all those places.
Okay.
And then apply your lotion all over.
So is it the same if I'm going to go get a spray tan?
Yes. You need time between when you applied lotion, between you getting your tan, or else you're going to get all streaky and slippery and weird.
I'm going to slip walking into the salon.
No, exactly.
And break my arm. And
we start talking normally.
Would you?
Sorry.
We can't. You know what's sick? Sometimes talking like that feels more normal for me.
Yeah.
It feels more natural. And I don't know why. But you think is a spray tan okay to get? Because I was thinking about so basically I'm going to Mexico.
Okay.
Uh-oh, it's back.
Oh my
I'm
God.
going to Mexico for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want to get a tan, but I have lupus, so I don't want to put on body oil and go sit outside. Because that's not good for me.
So remind me, what does lupus do to your body?
So much, but one of the big ones, you're not supposed to be in the sun.
I can say the end. I would, spray tan aside, I just would say don't go in the sun much. You don't even need...
You said don't go to Mexico.
I mean, a good SPF, but so that didn't even matter if you were getting a spray tan or not. I think a spray tan is a great option
Thank
for
you. You tried to stop, and then at the end, the accent came back.
Yeah.
Okay. Seriously, you guys?
Is this a serious infringement on our First Amendment rights?
Seriously.
Passing the bill could embolden authority. Okay, yeah. The United States, particularly through the State Department, has been very vocal about other countries when they disable access to either parts of the internet or to social media services and other applications that are predominantly U.S.-based, said Kate Ruan, who directs who directs the Free Expression Project at the Center for Democracy and Technology.
No, I just love when it's just a name. It's because it's obviously Jake has to cite.
Yeah.
It is, but it just always feels funny when it's says Dan Cleava.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It's who is Kate to a god and who is God to a non-believer? Oh, wait. Fuck, Kanye. All right. If we go forward with this and we ban TikTok, that is essentially going to be a license to authoritarian... Wait, let me get in my reading mode. If we go forward with this and we ban TikTok, that is essentially going to be a license to authoritarian regimes around the world to do the same to the U.S.-based platforms.
Oh.
And I think we all see a lot of copycat measures as a result of that. Here's the thing. As with anyone in life, sometimes you gotta fuck around and find out. If America does this and they just expect everyone else to take it, I would actually really encourage every other country to give it. Do you know what I mean? Because, America... Yeah. We think that we're the exception to the rule. I think we got to screw ourselves up. I mean, it's like hitting your rock bottom.
I know.
Sometimes you really got to screw yourself over again and again and again.
Yeah.
Before you realize, I got to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird how I don't know if you felt this way, but I bet you did because you grew up in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's you grow up, and I feel as a young kid, all I thought about was I'm so lucky I was born in America. You think about, you're just wow, I was this fucking close to being a sperm from another country. And if I lived in any other country,
yeah,
I would just be so sad.
Yeah.
Because it would be horrible. And I would be like, I was like so grateful to be from America, which is just so funny because it's like, what? And I don't feel like other countries have that where they like teach their kids that like, this is really like, if you'd been born, well, that's actually probably not true.
Yeah, a lot of people have national pride.
Yeah, actually that's not, but it feels very intense. I don't think a lot of countries, like when I used to get to school from first grade to fifth grade, you say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we would sing the national anthem, and then we would do a personalized school song for America.
Yeah.
It took like fucking 5 minutes. It was like so long of us standing and singing to America. And I don't think that is that common in other places. Not every other, but there are definitely countries that have that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's very interesting. And then when you get older and you start to realize, it's like, well, America, first of all, that's it. None of that's true, but also it's so young. And I've always thought just like, well, I am from America, and America just happens to be like a country that is safe.
Yeah.
Which, like, once again, is not true.
Subjective,
So it's like, but as a kid, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, countries change all the time. Like, there are countries that are not great now that used to be at their heyday. And it's like, you are just one step away from being in the country that everyone's like, damn, must suck to live there.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's just scary to be like, as an adult now, like, oh no, this is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But even blocking access to a popular app like TikTok could embolden authoritarian countries around the world, said Wilmarie Escato, Policy Council for Access Now, a U.S.-based nonprofit that advocates for global interest. Oh my God, for global internet freedom and connectivity.
We are literally an authoritarian country. Like, so, I mean, we're not a democracy. Like, that, we've moved past that, guys. You must understand. We are looking in a mirror as we speak. All right. It sends the message that this is acceptable. These reactions can really spur internet. We do agree with these people. Like, they don't want it to shut down TikTok, but we're just also still going into like, it sends a message that this is acceptable. These reactions can really spur internet fragmentation. It can really interfere with access to information and freedom of expression across borders. Yes, that is true. It could eliminate an important place for Americans to speak and be heard. Absolutely. Hundreds of millions of Americans depend on the app to communicate, express themselves, and make a living. Exactly. That's 100% true. It would further balkanize the global internet and disconnect us from the world. Good use of the word balkanize. People from the Balkans will be like, I get that. I get that.
I've never heard that word.
Like, I don't want to...
This is actually so sick because when Sarah and I started this podcast, we both couldn't read, and now Sarah's become so good at reading, and now I just am the same, and Sarah's so good at reading.
I am good at reading, but I can't spell.
Well, no one's going to know that.
No, they do. They call me out. Whenever I'm like trying to do like explain how passionate I am, I was like, you need to muddle these berries. And they're like, middle these berries? And I was like, oh my God. But okay, yeah, balkanize, divide a region or body into smaller, mutually hostile states or groups, similar to what happened with the Balkans. So we see you and we hear you. The White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby said on ABC News this week, the administration acknowledges the concerns of many American users. We don't want to see a ban on TikTok. We understand there's a lot of people whose economic life relies on it. He said the administration instead wants to see TikTok split from its China-based parent company, ByteDance, who staunchly opposes the legislation and maintains that the data fears around the use of TikTok are unfounded. They are. Literally, did you see that interview with the owner of like TikTok?
Yeah,
he was
so bad.
They were like, so how does the app know that I like little girls dancing in their bikinis? Like, well, why is that all this app is? And then the guy's like, okay, so this is curated to what you watch, you freak. Like, what do you mean? Like, they were like, so how did the filters work? Do they like scan your face? It's like, oh my God, you are literally running our country.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. No, it's really bad. And then that whole back and forth where he was like, and you're from China? And he's like, yeah. He's like, what part of China? And then it was just like went for so long. And it's just so devastating. It really is it's so devastating. And it's just like such a bummer because it always is just a reminder that like no one cares. Like no one who is in a leadership role in our country like really cares about us necessarily.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if you really cared, I'm like, okay, I want to really know if like this is what's best for our country.
Yeah.
You would like do research, but they just don't research anything. They're just like, I want to prove this guy wrong, and I don't care how embarrassing the clips are, as long as what I want gets done.
Yeah.
it gets done and I don't care. And it's like, that sucks.
It's you also have to think about the type of person who's drawn to a position of power. Like, it's the people who want to run for office want some, like, notoriety, fame, control over others. So obviously, right off the bat, they're going to be a bit crazy. But I mean, that's why I always vote for anyone who's autistic. Autistic people can be evil, but like they're not motivated by the same things. So you could be genuinely passionate about reform. I say this as someone with it. I'm not like, God, I fucking love those kids. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Not the last thing you just said, but about how there's just like, they're all people who want power. Because it's so true. Because it's like, you could easily go be like in local government.
Yeah.
But you didn't want that. You wanted to be like top dog, which is always a red flag. It always reminds me, like, the same people who are high up in politics are the same people who would be like a restaurant manager.
Oh, yeah.
Because it like doesn't make sense why you would want to be a restaurant manager. No hate to any of our restaurant managers.
We love you.
There are some good ones. But it's like, well, you get paid like worse. Like, if you're a restaurant manager, it's like your hours, I think you get like a salary, but it's so similar to like a server's. I guess it depends on where you work, but it's like the hours are so insane and there's so much more responsibility and you like can't, you just have to do so much more work. So the only person who would want to do that is because they want power.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I worked in a restaurant, every 2 months they were like, who wants to be a manager? And like no one wanted to do it. We were like, absolutely not. I was never offered that position because they knew I was irresponsible. But yeah, so it was just people who wanted power. So it was like every manager was so mean and so horrible because that's like all they needed.
Yeah.
Very similar person.
I've never gotten to the level of manager. I have this saying, Mama raised no quitter, because I've only ever been fired. But I've always, if I was going to be a manager, what I'd want out of it is that twisted, like, bracelet that has the key on it.
Oh.
And I'd roll it up my arm.
And that would feel cool.
And
it?
like people would be like, Sarah, I gotta get in.
You have a name change. Manager Sarah's name is Jill.
Sarah, I gotta get in the office to see the schedule. And I'd like have that little key around my arm and I'd be like, sorry girls, 1 second. Actually, that would be so fun.
I know. Well, but you know what? Yeah, but it's also like there's always the manager who gets hired who's trying to be cool because they're like, I'm gonna be different. Like all these people have had such shit managers, like I'm different. And so they start in a way that feels so uncomfortable where they're like, girl, like I'm not gonna be like that with you. Like I don't care. But then like 2 weeks later you do something and they like are unleashed and you're like, oh no, you're just like the other managers. We're gonna try for 2 weeks to be nice. But I think you could be the manager of like a pet store or something.
Oh yeah.
That feels different. And you could still have the key thing.
I would love that. I think
a restaurant is not a fun place to be a manager.
No, there's too many human interactions. I think I could manage a pet store. The only thing is I don't like people. I love a good dog. Yeah. But I hate how a lot of dog owners think they don't have to have their pet on a leash.
Oh, don't. We genuinely don't have time.
We don't have time.
I am so... Oh, I hate it so much.
So imagine a pet store where there's already like, you got frogs, you got turtles, you got birds, and then there's a Great Dane on the loose.
Put your dog on a goddamn leash. Put it on a leash. No, what is it? Especially it's like they're walking with this dog and there was, he would never run away. I'm like, great, then put him on a leash. Why do you want to prove to everyone around you that your dog is going to follow you no matter what? No one cares, by the way. It's so weird.
It's so
And they
weird.
always come up to me and they have this huge dog and they're like, don't worry, he wouldn't hurt a fly. And I'm like, well, my dog was raised on the streets of Bakersfield and she was pregnant with like 17 dogs and she's gonna kill your dog.
Oh, yeah.
My dog hates your dog. And I know she's small and I could just pick her up, but like, it's her morning too, okay?
Yeah, I don't understand, like, animals aside, if you had animals can be weapons at a certain point. Yeah. If you're like walking around with a baseball bat and someone's like, that makes me uncomfortable, you would just listen to them and be like, oh my God, they're uncomfortable. Yeah. You wouldn't argue, sorry that I played baseball and I was swinging it at everyone on the sidewalk. Jesus Christ. Sorry that you feel weird around men. Sorry.
Oh, man.
I did, when we outlined the notes for this, I wrote, is it just old people who don't understand the internet? And so Jake was forced to take that seriously. So what did Jake say?
Yes and no. That's one bullet point.
Yeah.
Next bullet point says, it's an older people who have more fear about foreign espionage and propaganda attacks than most younger people. sometimes do you feel like young people just aren't we don't have fear about those things, because if we start having fear about those things, we can't even live our life. There's too many things.
It's debilitating.
Like, I feel like it used to be, and I don't mean to take away from the trauma that older generations had, because there's a lot of fucked up crap that went down, okay?
Yeah.
But it always felt like there was like two things going on. You know what I mean? It's like we have this war going on, and then we have this crazy thing going on.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like it's like, do I just naturally not have fear about like foreign attacks? No, that's not true. But I just can't, because I can't add another thing to the list.
I mean, like your gay people weren't allowed on like film and TV. The TV had 3 channels. All you knew was Vietnam and like weed was coming up.
Weed was coming up next.
You really didn't even have to like. I mean, obviously, like as soon as you go out of the scope of being white, yes, you absolutely have more to worry about. But like.
Yeah.
You really didn't you didn't know as much, so you didn't have to worry about like.
Well, that's really what it is.
Yeah,
because it's like you didn't know, even if you were in a situation, like even if you were gay, like even if I'd been gay.
No, this is how you know.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is how you know that they had nothing to worry about. The whole concept of a latchkey kid was fine.
Which is wild because and we've talked about this before, but it's like people now are like, well, you know, there's like that trend. It's not a trend. People, which it's like their right to do. If you don't want your kid to go to sleepovers, that's not my whatever. And I don't know what I would do. I've never thought about it because I don't have a kid. But people are like, well, no, I don't let my kid do sleepovers. And I feel like it's really common. Like I feel like most parents are like, my kids aren't allowed to go to sleepovers.
Yes.
And they're always like, well, it's a different time now. Or they talk about like their kid going to the mall with their friends. And they're like, well, they're not allowed to do that alone because it's a different time. And I'm like, technically speaking, it's a much safer time. Like when that was going on in the 80s, kids were literally getting kidnapped like every day.
Yeah.
Like kids, you like can't kidnap. I mean, like ever so often.
It is so hard.
But it is so hard. It's like, obviously it happens and it's devastating. But like, I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of documentaries about children from the 80s getting kidnapped. It was so common. Like, it was so common. That is not a common thing that happens anymore. So I'm like, it's so interesting that we've like, everyone's brain has been like, it's more dangerous now, but it's just because you have so much more information. Like the amount of, like when you lived in the 80s, even though hundreds of kids were getting kidnapped all the time, you didn't hear about it. It was like the only way you heard about it was like on a milk carton. So you'd be like, oh, that's one kid for this whole month when they sent out these milk cartons. Like that's not that scary. So there's just too much information. You have to see so much. Like even back then, it's like, well, a war's going on. But if you didn't live in like that area where that was devastatingly happening, obviously you were affected by it, but you were not watching videos of it happening, which is very different. So I think it's just like we have too much access, which is good in a lot of ways, but for our brains, I don't even know what it's doing to our brains.
Yeah, I think the older generations can really only handle one thing at a time. Like, I mean, just latchkey kids and the concept of hitchhiking was popular.
Wild.
You weren't worried about shit. And now, oh, I'm sorry that you had to think about a phone for a second, Grandpa. But like, really, just try to get through it. You know what I mean?
It was so crazy. It's like if I hitchhiked now, and they kidnapped me, which I would never hitchhike.
I would blame you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
100%. If I, who in LA was like, I'm gonna hitchhike today, and then I got taken. It's like they could find that person. That's what's so crazy. Like, they have a phone. Their car, depending on what car they have, their car is like tracked. And like as we move, as the years go on, everyone's car is going to be tracked. It's like this is the safest time to hitchhike. To be honest, it's like people get very scared about Ubers, which is scary, and a lot of terrible stuff has happened with Ubers. But I'm always like, well, if I get taken by an Uber driver, maybe I'll be dead, but they will be easily able to find this man. So why would this man do this? Because he will immediately be arrested. I have his name and license plate number. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I've also like RSVP'd on Google that I'm going to the event. All my friends immediately recognized I never got there. They
have my location on.
Yeah, and they're like, she's in the woods. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it is so hard to genuinely kidnap someone nowadays.
Yeah.
That like it's old people are scared for nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm sorry if your child's been kidnapped. Obviously, kids get kidnapped.
It's very real and it's very scary.
But it is not as common, and it's not something that I think if I had a kid, I wouldn't be like, that's our number one focus is making sure you don't get kidnapped.
Yeah, realistically, we should all be worried about like skin cancer screenings and like, eating healthy, making sure you don't have any vitamin deficiencies. But yeah, I understand if you start to have kids who worry about them being kidnapped. So lawmakers in both parties didn't like the impromptu lobbying frenzy. Some characterized it as confirmation of their fears that the Chinese-owned app, which is already banned on government devices, is brainwashing America. Jake said, old people think young people are brainwashed by the app, so they will continue to support this in the cause, oblivious to the propaganda affecting them. Yeah, it's also that and the lead poisoning. I swear.
Literally, though?
Yeah.
Literally, though.
No,
the lead poisoning theory. Is it even a theory? It's so scary.
The lead, and I know that it's sad that you were exposed to lead at an early age, and asbestos especially. But like, surely you must recognize that
there are symptoms. Well, no, they can't because they have lead poisoning. So they can't have any. They don't have any self-awareness. You know what's so crazy? My mom used to tell me. I don't think my mom has lead poisoning. She's a very wonderful woman, but she used to tell me that when she was a kid, the pesticide guy, like the bug truck would come by where it sprays pesticide, and all the kids in the neighborhood would put on their bathing suits and run behind the truck as like a weekly activity. I am like, and these are the people who are making our laws, are people who had been dancing in pesticide for years and then drinking lead. It's so bad. It's so bad.
My grandma smoked and she was pregnant with my mom. And so, yes, that affected you, but like, it's crazy how I don't want their advice, but younger people also tend to be more inclined to give out personal data freely without weighing the consequences. However, the pendulum also swings in the opposite direction. Literally, you could, a senior citizen is like, I need to get a passport. And then they're like, give us your social security number. And they're like, who are you? It's like, you literally walked into the city hall. What do you mean? Who are we?
Yeah, that's a weird thing about, I will say, there's a little bit of a mind fuck with social security numbers because everyone's like, don't fucking say your social security number. Like, don't show anyone. Yeah. But then I'm like trying to sign up for a gym membership and they're like, and just tell me your social security number. And I'm like, well, I don't want to like say no, but okay. And I'm like, everyone has my social security number. Anyways.
But the key with that is if you give out your social security number, it's on a piece of paper. When you're handing it in, be like, I don't even care. My credit's so bad. I can't even pay off a loan. Did you hear that? So just make sure everyone knows that your credit is bad.
Unless you're trying to, I guess, buy a house or open a credit card.
That's when you whisper to the person, I'm lying. This is a ruse.
Well, then that's just completely unhelpful.
Then you just seem insane.
If you told them that and then they're like, oh, then I guess never mind. The overrun phone lines from the young supporters were merely making the case for why we need the bill. Oh, because, sorry, I missed a sentence. Younger people, oh, no, I didn't. Younger people were like calling and blowing up the phones being like, please can't take away TikTok. TikTok's mass social manipulation tactics were on full display this is a quote, not me saying this.
Yeah.
TikTok's mass social manipulation tactics were on full display last week when foreign actors desperately used the app to push its 170 million American users to call members of Congress and pressure them to vote against this bill, leading to threats of suicide and violence from callers.
Wait, I am so sorry.
Oh my God.
You should never, ever, threaten to kill yourself to get your point across. But I am sad that there's something so funny about calling your representative and leaving a message. Hi, I'm part of your district. I will kill myself if you get rid of TikTok.
It's like an episode of Veep. It does not seem real. It's too nuts.
Yeah.
Leading to threats of suicide and violence from callers and violence. Oh no. Providing exactly why this legislation is needed, said Ryan Walker, Vice President of Heritage. Well, I don't know if that's true. The same thing happened when One Direction broke up, and I would debate that they should have stayed together.
Yeah. I just can't even imagine leaving a message on someone's answering machine, threatening violence against them. Like an official. I would just be like,
so funny.
That is so.
But can you imagine being? It's like there were parents who were in their kitchen and they could hear from inside their teen kid's room them on the phone with a senator being like, "Hello, Mr. Senator, I'm gonna kill myself if you don't do this." It's so crazy. And they were like, "Well, at least they're not doing drugs." So nuts.
So yeah, there is the serious financial repercussion. Republicans, you're back. Join us. A spokesman for TikTok equated it to a total ban, saying it would strip 170 million Americans of their constitutional right to free expression and damage millions of businesses, deny artists an audience, and destroy the livelihoods of countless creators across the country. Yeah, think about like, I know most people hate influencers, but not everyone's an influencer who has a job and like posts it on, social media. Like think about that guy who volunteers to mow lawns all across the U.S.
I love those videos.
Out of the goodness of his heart. That's a business, right? People send him and he wouldn't be able to connect like that. That's a red-blooded American right there if you have to care about someone who's not, yeah, okay. But, yeah, so, I mean, also think about all these, like, musicians who are always complaining, I have to make 3 TikToks to promote my song. It's like, because their record label recognizes it's an incredibly important money-making tool. Like, everyone shits on TikTok, but when it comes down to brass tacks. That makes you money. All right, yeah. TikTok sent an alert to users urging them to contact their lawmakers to tell them to vote against the bill. The app asked users for their zip code to look up their representatives' phone numbers and prompt them to call. I like that.
Talking points from creators disagreeing with this move. Content creators say a ban would hurt countless people and businesses that rely on TikTok for a significant portion of their income, while also arguing TikTok has become an unrivaled platform for dialogue and community.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, I'm pro not banning TikTok. But just to be devil's advocate, because we're on a podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am like, the loss of jobs sometimes has to happen for like progress. Do you know what I mean? Which I don't think this would be progress. So it kind of doesn't matter. But I think sometimes that's like the same argument people use as to why we shouldn't have like electric stuff or like why we shouldn't have like windmills. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where people like everyone's going to lose jobs. And it's like, that's just kind of part of like the way things happen. Like, I think there's so many more disturbing reasons. It's not that it isn't sad, but both things can be true. It's like, it can be really sad that people lose their jobs, but also if it's like, if someone was like, I think this would be best for the country, I don't think it is, but then that would just be a thing that had to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but I would argue that makes sense in terms of innovation. If you innovate and it outdates a certain job, then I'm so sorry. I hope you can adapt or find something that's comparable. But this is not for the sake of innovation. It's actually quite regressive since it's, afraid of China and communism.
Right. It's not that it needs it, and it won't create more jobs in the future.
Yeah, like it's not like they're taking TikTok down to create a super TikTok.
Yeah.
They like just don't want foreign governments to.
Right, which is not.
They're
helpful.
paranoid about foreign governments, which is just our history. It's like we're not even moving forward. But
okay, that makes sense. So thank you for answering my question. Someone said I've always had Twitter, I've had Facebook, I've had Instagram, but TikTok was the first one where I want to find someone who looks like. If you want to find someone who looks like yourself and represents you in any type of way, you can find it. So Joshua Darren, a Black 30-year-old content creator in Auburn, Alabama. Darren makes videos about his state's ghost stories, urban legends, and history. I mean, that's true.
Yeah, he thinks banning TikTok sets a dangerous precedent about how much power our highest levels of government can wield. Yes, because this does arguably infringe on everyone's First Amendment rights. So think about that, guys. If it literally is they're taking away your freedom of expression and freedom of speech in a certain regard.
Yeah.
You can still go outside and yell crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But like this is, they're taking away.
Yeah. Do you feel Jake just put some memes to close out our research, but before we end, I want to ask if how do you feel? Like are you stressed out as a person who makes income from TikTok?
I am stressed out, but I'm also incredibly prepared. I was there when Vine got banned.
Yeah.
So I've done this before.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a veteran right now.
Yeah.
And also, I do have several other platforms. I think I'm more afraid for other people.
That's how I feel, too.
You understand moving your followers across platforms is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And so if you've built your following on TikTok and you haven't had time or, you haven't been advised to move them, then I feel very anxious for them.
Because that is what's so weird. I mean, since I was on TikTok, I've very much actively tried to move, people to other platforms. So I'm okay on Instagram, I'm okay on YouTube, and so I don't feel that stress for myself, but I think there are so many people where it is so wild. You'll go to their TikTok and they have 10 million followers.
Uh-huh.
And then they like don't even have an Instagram, and you'll like look them up on YouTube and they like don't have a YouTube. And I'm like, wow, that will be wild. They're like fully like a famous person. Like 10 million followers. That's so nuts.
Yeah.
Like they're making a lot of money and they're just going to have that fully taken away, which is so wild.
Yeah. I think like having a TikTok is like having a lot of cash, and if you haven't started to build up your follower, like YouTube is always thought of as like a savings account. Instagram and Twitter are like different types of investments, so you're like actually growing your wealth. If you just have all of your stock in one place, you basically just have a suitcase full of cash, and you better pray to God that your home doesn't get raided for some stupid fucking reason. Like so I do feel bad for people who are newer creators who didn't know to do that.
Yeah. But it's never too late. Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like the algorithms too, and people in the comments are always like, Kendahl always says, I don't know anything about this, and then talks for 20 minutes, and I hear you and I understand, but what am I supposed to do?
You're a verbal processor.
Thank you. Okay. But I do feel like it's never too late, and I feel like the algorithms are in a really weird place where they're kind of like, will push stuff so bizarre. I mean, like when Shorts came out, it was like, if you posted Shorts, you just went viral on Shorts, and it was like incredible.
Yeah.
If you were around when TikTok or Instagram went to Reels, like all of that stuff, just like I literally tell people, I'm like, if you just post every day on Instagram, every single day without fail, you do it for 30 days, like you'll see insane growth. Like I don't even have to know what your content is. Like if you just post every single day on Instagram consistently, even if like the first 20 days you're like nothing's, just like keep going.
Yeah.
Something will happen. Some video will like do well. So it's never too, even if you're like, man, I screwed that up, I didn't transfer over, you can totally do it now.
Oh yeah. I don't know if this is set in stone, but I've been shadow banned before, and I found a way to push myself out of a shadow ban.
Oh, really?
Go live on TikTok for 90 minutes, and I swear it resets.
Whoa.
Like, what was crazy is that, like, I started, all of my videos started to get, like, re-pushed up.
Yeah.
And so I was seeing, like, thousands of likes come back in, and I was like, I think since I reached a threshold in, like, a different way on TikTok, it, like, pushed everything back up, and I was like, I'm gonna go live a lot more.
Yeah. Oh.
So guys, also, since it's down to the wire, since the official the timer started, people are acting with a lot more anxiety. So just try natural ways to incorporate your Instagram into like your TikToks or like something like that, so people will feel tempted to move over.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally. Well, I'm sorry if TikTok gets banned. That would suck. But I am happy to be here today with you.
We are. Remember, we have an Instagram, we have a YouTube. We do have a TikTok, but we are playing fast and loose over there.
Yeah. We're going crazy over there because we don't know what's gonna happen. And if you're listening on if you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, please rate us 5 stars. Leave a little review that's so sweet that we can read. And if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. And thank you so much for being here, and happy Wednesday.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.